everyone. I hope you're doing well, and this is your Royal Daily News for September 10th, 2022. In London, His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom was officially proclaimed King during the Accession Council held at the State Apartments of St. James's Palace. The Accession Council, which is a body made up of senior politicians, judges, and officials, attended by Privy Councillors, and is divided into two parts. In Part 1, the Privy Council, without the King present, is proclaimed the sovereign and formally approved various consequential orders, including the arrangements for the proclamation. In Part 2 is the holding by the King of His Majesty's first Privy Council. The King made his declaration as well as read and signed the oath to uphold the security of the Church in Scotland and approved orders in Council which facilitate continuity of the government. In attendance during this morning's historic proclamation were Her Majesty the Queen Consort, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent, their Royal Highnesses the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Liz Truss, former Prime Ministers including Sir Tony Blair, Sir John Major, Mr. Gordon Brown, Mr. David Cameron, Miss Theresa May, and Mr. Boris Johnson. In his declaration, His Majesty King Charles III said, quote, "I am deeply aware of this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibilities of sovereignty, which have now passed to me. In taking up these responsibilities, I strive to follow the inspiring example I have been set in upholding the constitutional government and to seek the peace, harmony, and prosperity of the peoples of these islands and of the Commonwealth realms and territories throughout the world. In this purpose, I know that I shall be upheld by the affection and loyalty of the peoples whose sovereign I have been called upon to be, and that in the discharge of these duties I will be guided by the counsel of their elected parliaments. In all of this, I am profoundly encouraged by the constant support of my beloved wife. I take this opportunity to confirm my willingness and intention to continue the tradition of surrendering the hereditary revenues, including the Crown Estate, to my government for the benefit of all in return for the sovereign grant, which supports my official duties as heads of state and head of nation. And in carrying out the heavy task that has been laid upon me, and to which I now dedicate what remains to me of my life, I pray for the guidance and help of Almighty God." End quote. Thereafter, the principal proclamation, read by Garter, King of Arms, accompanied by the Earl Marshal, other officers of arms, and the Sergeant-at-Arms, was made from the balcony overlooking Friary Court at St. James's Palace. In attendance at the principal proclamation were His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent, and their Royal Highnesses the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. In the afternoon, their Majesties King Charles III and the Queen Consort returned to Buckingham Palace, whereupon they held audiences with the Archbishop of Canterbury, Prime Minister Liz Truss, and members of the Cabinet, as well as opposition party leaders. Thereafter, their Majesties left Buckingham Palace to meet and talk with thousands of well-wishers on the Mall. Meanwhile, outside the gates at Windsor Castle, their Royal Highnesses the Prince and Princess of Wales, along with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, viewed floral tributes and messages in memory of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. This is the first time since the Commonwealth Day service at Westminster Abbey on March 9, 2020, that the royal foursome have been seen in public together. Soon, their Royal Highnesses the Prince and Princess of Wales, along with the Duke and Duchess, made an impromptu walkabout where they met and shook hands with hundreds of well-wishers who cheered and clapped for all four of them. During the walkabout, the Princess of Wales and the Duchess of Sussex were both handed several bouquets of flowers from people wishing to pay their respects to the Queen. The royals spent about 40 minutes with the crowd before they returned to Windsor Castle. According to various sources, the Prince of Wales personally invited the Duke and Duchess to view the floral tributes. British journalist Mr. Max Foster noted that his sources confirmed that the Prince of Wales, quote, reached out to Harry and Meghan shortly before he and the Princess of Wales were due to go out. They, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, dropped everything that they were doing and agreed to go out. The Prince of Wales thought it was an important show of unity at an incredibly difficult time for the family. End quote. Well done, Your Royal Highness. Well done. Good move on your part. After the walkabout, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales paid tribute to the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in a social media post, stating, quote, I knew this day would come, but it'll be some time before the reality of life without Granny will truly feel real. I thank her for the kindness she showed my family and me. End quote. In Aberdeen, Scotland, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal and Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence, Mr. Peter Phillips, Mrs. Zara Tyndall, His Royal Highness the Duke of York, Her Royal Highness Princess Beatrice of York, Mrs. Mosey, Her Royal Highness Princess Eugenie of York, Mrs. Brooksbank, Their Royal Highnesses the Earl and Countess of Wessex, Lady Louise Mountbatten Windsor, and James the Viscount Severin viewed floral tributes in honor of their late mother and grandmother, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, outside the Crathy Kirk Church. In Madrid, Their Majesties King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia of Spain arrived at the residence of the Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Spain, His Excellency Hugh Elliot, to sign the Book of Condolence in honor of the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Upon hearing the news of the death of the Queen, His Majesty King Felipe VI sent a personal telegram to His Majesty King Charles III to express his sympathy and condolences on behalf of the Spanish government as well as the Spanish people. In his telegram, His Majesty noted that the late Queen has, quote, undoubtedly been a witness, has written and shaped many of the most relevant chapters in the history of our world in the last 7 decades. Her sense of duty, commitment, and a lifetime dedicated to serving the people of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland was an example to all of us and will remain a strong and valuable legacy for future generations. You are in our hearts and thoughts. Signed, Felipe. In Copenhagen, Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II of Denmark kicked off her Golden Jubilee celebrations this evening with a gala performance held at the Royal Theatre. The royal guest list includes Their Royal Highnesses Crown Prince Frederik and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark, His Royal Highness Prince Christian of Denmark, Her Royal Highness Princess Isabella of Denmark, Their Royal Highnesses Prince Joachim and Princess Marie of Denmark, His Highness Prince Nikolai of Denmark, His Highness Prince Felix of Denmark, Her Majesty Queen Anne-Marie of Greece, Her Royal Highness Princess Benedicte of Denmark, Princess of Sayn-Wittgenstein-Berleburg, Their Royal Highnesses Crown Prince Pavlos and Crown Princess Marie Chantal of Greece, Her Royal Highness Princess Alexia of Greece, Mr. Carlos Morales Quintana, Her Serene Highness Princess Alexandra of Sayn-Wittgenstein-Berleburg, Countess of Eilfeld-Larving-Biel, Count Michael of Eilfeld-Larving-Biel, Her Serene Highness Princess Natalie of Sayn-Wittgenstein-Berleburg, Her Royal Highness Princess Theodora of Greece, and her fiancé, Mr. Matthew Kumar, Their Royal Highnesses Prince Philippos and Princess Nina of Greece, Their Majesties King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia of Sweden, Their Majesties King Harald V and Queen Sonja of Norway. Her Excellency Alexandra, Countess of Frederiksborg. Notably absent from the guest list were His Majesty King Constantine of Greece, which is understandable, it's quite difficult for him to travel, and Their Royal Highnesses Prince Nicholas and Princess Tatiana of Greece, as well as Their Serene Highnesses Prince Gustav and Princess Karina of Sayn-Wittgenstein-Berleburg, who unfortunately, according to various sources, had to cancel their attendance at the last minute. The reason for their cancellation is unknown at this time. Prior to the gala performance, Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II led a moment of silence for her cousin and dear friend, the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Thereafter, the Danish national anthem played, and the gala began. Tomorrow, the Golden Jubilee celebrations continue with a gala dinner at Christiansborg Slot in the evening, a luncheon aboard the royal yacht Dannenbrog, and in the morning, church service at the Vrouwkerke in Copenhagen. In Brussels, Her Imperial and Royal Highness Princess Maria Laura of Belgium, Archduchess of Austria-Este, married Mr. William Isvey. The day began with the couple's civil marriage ceremony held at the Brussels Town Hall. Thereafter, the religious service took place at the Church of St. Nicholas and St. Gudula. Yesterday afternoon in Paris, Her Royal Highness Grand Duchess Maria Theresa of Luxembourg, Her Royal Highness Princess Caroline of Hanover, Princess of Monaco, and Her Highness Sheikha Moza bint Nasser of Qatar, as chairwoman of Education Above All and SDG advocate, participated in a high-level panel discussion entitled Act Now to Protect Education from Attack, held at the UNESCO headquarters. The panel discussion was held on the occasion of the International Day to Protect Education from Attack. During the panel discussion, Her Highness Sheikha Moza bint Nasser of Qatar gave a speech that emphasized the importance of immediately mobilizing ways to find creative solutions to put a stop to attacks on education worldwide. In Tokyo, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Naruhito of Japan received credentials from the ambassador from the Republic of the Maldives, His Excellency Hassan Sobir, held at the Imperial Palace. In the south of France, His Serene Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco attended the 2022 Les Journées de l'Arbre, held at the Parc des Oliviers. And finally, last evening in Honolulu, Hawaii, Iolani Palace was lit in purple, the British color for royalty and piety, in honor and in memory of the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In a statement from Iolani Palace, the 10-day mourning period is being observed throughout the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth nations, and so, quote, we share our aloha from one monarchy to another, end quote. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow on Sunday, September 11th with all the latest royal news. And once again, it's going to be a very busy day. So with that being said, I wish you all a wonderful Saturday evening and a great day tomorrow. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, take care, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.